Yo, welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here, ready to piss Umar off today.
And this is Big Geek Umar, and I'll take it lying down.
Wow! Oh, okay, it's gonna be that kind of day. Tactics is not impressed. Look at that.
Tactics like,
Oh,
not
man.
engaging.
Yeah, just like ready to boot somebody.
You guys do have that ability.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you staring at me like that? Actually, I shouldn't personalize. You could be talking to Darcy that way. Anyway, we have a T. No, you're blinking. I was going to blink. So we have a packed agenda. So much geeky news for us to catch up on. So technically, sorry for stepping on your foot, but I think we should just jump right into it. What do you think?
Someone is in trouble.
How about I just be quiet right now and you take it from here?
No, do your thing, bro. You already jam-packed the agenda, adding additional shit last minute. So go ahead. Go ahead.
I do feel bad about that. I did apologize, audience members. Anyway, so first bit of news. The Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, or a Disney Plus series, released its first trailer earlier this week. And damn. So I have been looking forward to this. I know Darcy's been looking forward to this. But the question is Tactix looking forward to this? So if you guys don't mind, Tactix, I'm gonna set this up to you. First of all, did you watch the trailer?
I did.
What did you think?
I honestly, out of all the Star Wars stuff, like Mandalorian and what was the other one? The Boba Fett?
Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to this. Well, Mandalorian's pretty dope. So I like that aside, I think I'm really excited for this one just because I'm a little bit more familiar with the Jedis than I am with the Mandalorian lore and all that stuff like that. Because I only watched the original Star Wars, each of the original films once. So I don't have a strong recollection of any of those characters outside of the Jedi. And I kind of wanted to see the transition of Anakin becoming Darth Vader, go more in depth. And I don't know if they touch on that in the animated shows, because I didn't get into them, but that's what I want to see. So
wait, are you saying his decline, or him actually becoming when he's Darth Vader, but taking over?
We kind of saw him go through a decline in the prequels, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, but I wanted to kind of see more of that, because it's he gets the suit and then it just kind of ends there, and then it basically goes into what is it, episode 4, I guess. Yeah. So,
and there's a 20-year age, 20-year distance.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted I want them to explore that, and I want a rematch, because that fight scene was dope from what I remember of the original 3rd episode, or the episode 3 or whatever.
Yep.
So I'd love to see a rematch of that. So yeah, I'm interested in it. I'm not as into the Star Wars stuff as you guys are, but it has piqued my interest. The trailer looks intriguing, so yeah, I'll definitely be checking this one out.
What about the trailer actually piqued your interest, aside from just the natural, this was naturally what you were more interested in anyway?
Hands down Vader. We didn't even see Vader, but we heard the whole
breathing.
Yeah, so I was like, oh shit, okay. And then I read that Hayden Christensen is coming back, so that's kind of interesting. So yeah,
they are going to have a rematch.
Yeah, so I would love to see that. Obviously, we know that it's Obi-Wan doesn't die at the hands of Vader anytime soon. So yeah, I'm excited. I want to see where they go with that, and because of the fact that they have the technology to make that shit look really dope. I'm curious to see how they're gonna do that. So yeah, I'll check it out.
Okay. Darcy.
Wow, there's a lot of noise in my house. We're currently doing a lot of cleaning for a move. So if you hear stuff, my bad. I'm not looking forward to this one at all.
Right.
He's lying like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find ways to instigate Umar as much as I can today. Okay, so to be honest though, like I am cautiously optimistic is actually how I feel. Okay, so I'm looking forward to it like anybody would be looking forward to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Come on, obviously, like it's a given. He's one of the best characters, right? And I need a high ground joke at some point laid out in this whole series. I just need it, like, you don't have the high ground from like Darth Vader or something. Just be like, oh, like, you know, just something, right? Just give me something. But it looks like the production of it like looks like it's a lot of when we had Ahsoka Tano show up in The Mandalorian. That gets me excited. However, there's a part of me that's just like a touch worried, and it's just more like, how do I put this? Everything we've gotten for the most part, besides space scooters in this new Star Wars universe, has been good. And Umar, you know what I'm talking about when I talk about them space scooters and in Boba Fett. Those are some of the worst things I've ever seen. It's like it just took me right out of Star Wars and just made me feel like I was watching a really bad 80s like sci-fi film. But yeah, like the only thing that worries me is like it feels like a movie. It feels like that Ahsoka Tano part, which felt like a movie inside of The Mandalorian. And I'm like, this is good. But the stakes are fucking high. Like, you bring Darth Vader to this. Like, the stakes is like, you just upped the level of which you have to achieve. So that's just where I'm kind of like, I hope it's good.
You sound like me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's refreshing to hear it, but you sound like me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like there was like parts of it where just like it feels like a movie, and there's parts of it that feel like every other episode that we've seen from Mandalorian and stuff like that. And when you take the characters like from the movie, and I know like Boba Fett was from the movies, but like I don't know, it just feels like and with the way the trailer was, I feel like I'm supposed to be watching a film, and the part of me is cautious. Is like, am I gonna sometimes feel like it's weaker than a film? Right, like versus it being like a very long drawn out film with like multiple books, which would be a better like the feel I want to get from it. If it ends up feeling like a little bit subpar, you know, where it's like if they just a little more of this, or if the budget was a little higher on that there or something, that's where I just get a little bit worried, because you know I have a lot of Obi-Wan in my mind. The animated series, like, for me, is so much of Obi-Wan for me. I mean, so much of Star Wars, my love for Star Wars comes from the animated Clone Wars. So like, yeah, I need it to be good. So
just out of curiosity, it's a 6-episode run, but like, did you ever feel like what you're just describing about like if like would it be slow at parts? Did you feel that way about like Mandalorian at all?
I feel like The Mandalorian has been the most solid. Boba Fett has been enjoyable and sometimes really amazing, but overall, like if The Mandalorian was like an 8 out of 10, Boba Fett was like, you know, a 6.5 on the overall scale, but it had some 9 episodes for sure. And you know, like it's just like, you know, you need this to be a 9.5, like a 9.5, and if it comes like shy of that, it might hurt harder, you know, like that 1 point, like that 8 for The Mandalorian, you know, on this show might feel like a 6. You know, like it might get a 2-point deficit because of expectations. So
yeah, I hear that. Okay, all right, well, I'll jump in with my review, but I will say that, okay, first of all, I'm going to talk about the trailer itself. When John Williams' Duel of the Fates started playing, like time stopped for me while watching that trailer. I was kind of like, you know, I was like, oh, okay, cool, okay. And like I was like transfixed, and I couldn't, I like, basically the rest of the world did not exist for me the moment John Williams' Duel of the Fates started playing that trailer. So like that trailer kind of like it like went to the core of my childhood and like it just pinched the nerve and held on to me. So I was like, okay, whoever made this trailer is like well played. Then we see the Grand Inquisitor, and I'm like, oh shit, they're bringing a whole bunch of Star Wars rebels into this. Okay. And then you see Joel Edgerton, who's playing who reprises his role like Hayden Christensen as Uncle Owen, who like the young Uncle Owen, and I'm just like, okay. And obviously Ian McGregor's in it, and obviously Hayden Christensen's going to be in it, and I'm just like, this show, this trailer, without even realizing it, or maybe realizing it, it made a lot of promises to my childhood. It's like, you know what? We're gonna give what you deserve. And I'm with you, Darcy. I don't know if they can deliver, because like you're saying with your imagination with Ewan and like Obi-Wan Kenobi and like all the love we have for him as an actor and also as the character, and also kind of what you were saying, Tactix, about like, what the hopes we have for like seeing Darth Vader being Darth Vader in the opening of the Empire. If you didn't read the comics, this series seems to be like, we will take care of that. And I'm just like, if you're throwing, and also they throw in John Williams, and John Williams is also doing, I think, like a massive score for this series, like specifically for this series. So I'm like, you guys coming in hot, and you're giving me a 6-episode run, which might be perfectly like the amount. It doesn't sound like it's going to be elongating stuff, but it also is not going to hopefully be too short. So like, if we get a clean, concise, and as you say, Darcy, like with The Mandalorian, a solid series out of this, and also like, we're getting a director who did a great job on The Mandalorian, Deborah Chow, doing the entire series. I don't know who the writer is, but like, I mean, one hopes it's a good writer. If we actually get like well acted, well scripted, well directed, well action sequence Obi-Wan Kenobi series, I don't know what my life is going to be like after that.
Yo, on that one note you just said here, let's shout out Dan in the chat, who's coming through and saying, can't wait for some Jedi lightsaber action. That is definitely talking about getting good action. I actually realized reading that comment that like when Ahsoka Tano came in and we got to see a lightsaber again for the first time, and then we got to see it again with Luke, like how much that feels missed sometimes when you're watching a lot of like the Star Wars stuff. And I love seeing stuff that's not Jedi related, but just the lightsaber and somebody who can wield them properly and fight somebody else who also can wield them properly is a big thing, regardless if it's people we know or completely brand new characters who surprise us and enthrall us into it. But one thing, Tactix, you don't mind bringing back that picture of the Inquisitor? I have one thing to say about this right here.
Okay.
Which is
that?
Oh, the dude, white face. I gotta make it easy for him. Yeah. This dude right here, I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of this. I actually saw, before I saw the trailer, I saw people put a picture of this, like, all you need to do, and they like squeeze the image, because the Inquisitor has a really, like, the actual like from the animated one, he's got a very thin and tall head, right? Like,
leave the guy's head alone.
I know, but it's like, it don't feel right. This dude looks more like the guy from the Hellraiser movie than he does the Inquisitor to me. So that's the one thing I'm just like, and his voice didn't sound on to me at all, and I was just like, I just feel like, bring the prosthetics department in here and make his head taller. Like, I get we're not going to make it narrower. It's going to be hard to find a human with a narrow head. But if you make it long enough, it might feel more close to the thing. It didn't look off to me. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, let's not give a poor man like self-esteem issues over his the shape of his
I'm not
head.
blaming him. I'm not blaming him for his head. I am saying it's on the set and prop design that they decide like do we add another like 4 or 5 inches of stuff above his head and make it happen or not? Like that's not his fault. Yeah, like, look at it. Look how much taller his head is. He doesn't look quite right. You just gotta add more on top.
Okay. Actually, I am like legitimately interested in this. So Tactix, don't like brush this off. What are your thoughts, having absolutely no idea who this character is?
I don't give a fuck. I don't even know who this is. I don't know who it is.
It's not even about that. It just looks. The current one to me looks a little cosplayish. It just looked like he showed up and just didn't get it quite right. You know, and they got the budget. Like they make it. Give him a bigger skull. Yeah, he needs to be a conehead.
Damn. Oh, like okay.
It feels a little bit like Apocalypse from X-Men.
No. This is way better than Apocalypse than the massive step.
I know. This is like you got an 80 on the test. Apocalypse is like you got 20 on the test.
You did not do your homework. Versus this guy is like, fine, but we'll give you an appropriate, like you're getting an A no matter what.
Yeah. It's like this nice math equation. This is poli-sci.
All right. Well, all right. So on that note, moving on to our next topic, which is going to be covering, well, basically our reactions to the Miss Marvel trailers that had dropped a few days ago. Yeah. Okay. I gotta say, guys, I want to jump right into this because, like, you know, I am so happy with this trailer. Like, this trailer made me happy. There have been some production stuff behind the scenes that I've been not a big fan of, but when I saw this trailer, I'm not gonna lie, like by the end of it, I started tearing up a little bit, and mostly because I got to see my homegirl over here, like Kamala Khan, just being a straight up Muslim and a superhero, and just like letting her nerd flag fly. It on so many levels, this hit me right to my core, and I just being represented feels good, guys. And like this is something we've talked about a lot on this podcast, but representation matters. And by the end of this trailer, despite whatever issues I have behind the scenes of what's going on or how they're changing the character or changing her powers or any kind of casting decisions, seeing a Pakistani American or just a Pakistani superhero show up and like just I'm excited for this series, and specifically on the representation level, but also it looks good. But at the same time, and also the fact that this is someone who like lives within the same town as us, just I'm really happy. I can't wait. I need this to happen now, and like. Yeah. Okay. So I'm done. Darcy, you take over.
First of all, you said Pakistani American. I thought she was Canadian.
No. The actress is Canadian. The character is American.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you just threw me off there. I was like, wait, what?
My bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for the representation. There was a moment in the trailer. I forget what it was, but someone was saying something, and she had that kind of like you gonna say that to a Muslim? Like kind of like looking her face.
Oh yeah, when
like,
she got the name wrong.
Yeah, that's what it was. And it was just like that. I'm like, I know what that feeling sounds like. Or like you know that I know I've seen that moment enough times where people just don't try to get the name right. So that moment for me, I was like, I'm looking forward to seeing how they do more of that throughout the show, and I hope that it's not just like a one-off or like a couple of quick drops. I will say, I get why we would change the powers from a 3D animation perspective, because it's technically easier to do like energy-based stuff around people's hands than it is to do that, than to say morph a physical form of a person without making it look very cartoony. However, even though I actually is weird. Like when I've seen her character, I have not seen a lot of her character, but when I've seen it in like, let's say the Marvel game where, her fists get big and stuff like that, I'm never really a big fan of like elongating powers. I just don't like the way they look. That's just like a personal thing. But when I saw this like cosmic stuff, I was like, I want the elongating thing, just something, but that feels not authentic to the actual superhero. And I'm kind of like, and I get she's a big fan of Captain Marvel, and there's like that whole element to it. So I'm hoping that like it plays really well. But just part of me felt like I'm like, I want what I know barely anything of this character, and I want what I know of this character, and I feel like I'm confused. But I'm just hoping that it turns out really, really well. At the end of the day, and yeah, I don't know. It felt like a cross between a little bit of Hawkeye. Sorry, I'm like Hawkgirl. That's not right. Like it felt like a little bit tonally between like No Way Home and Hawkeye. For me, and I'm hoping that's a good thing. Yeah, I'm hoping it turns out to be a good thing because it had that New York aspect to it, and it's like in the middle of the two. So,
okay, Tactix.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fun, and I'm intrigued. The thing I will say though is I'm the most excited to see your reaction, Umar, because because honestly, because I the last time that we hung out, we did a whole like South Asian, like you basically kind of showed us your like in depth about your culture and like the the proper representation of your culture, which was really interesting because going into movies that are highly westernized, like Aladdin, for example, I went in thinking, I'm like, okay, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I guess this is how it is. You know what I mean? And I actually enjoyed Aladdin on my first viewing, and then you put me on game, or you put us on game, and you're like, that's not how you do that shit. So
this is where Aladdin belongs.
This is where it belongs. So we got educated, and you exposed us to like proper like South Asian dancing, like authentic, how it's supposed to be done. And now going back to Aladdin, you're like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, so
represent, yeah.
So now it's like I can't look at Aladdin, the live action version of Aladdin anyway, with the same lens with appreciation, because now I'm just like, this shit is trash. Like, there's elements here that are okay. Like Will Smith did his thing, like, all credit to him. But yeah, man, they dropped the ball on the dancing, the costumes, all of that. So I agree with you. I understand your pain now. I get it. So now with this, again, I'm going in still kind of a newbie to your culture. So, it'd be interesting to see my perspective as, just from what I know, and then seeing how your response to the property is going to be, and getting further educated in your culture and how to properly do things. So I'm more curious to see like, okay, are they going to get this right kind of thing? Because now it's like I feel like I'm experiencing it vicariously through you because I don't know how proper representation of your culture is supposed to be depicted in cinema or TV in general, or movies or anything like that. So that's what I'm most excited for. In regards to the superpower, I know nothing about this character. I literally didn't even know that Miss Marvel was a thing until Umar, you told me. So for me, I don't really have an issue with the power change. Like, and again, I agree with. I'm kind of on the same boat as Darcy. I've never really been all that keen about like elongation as a power. It just seems kind of lame to me. It's like, well, what can you really do with that shit? And even if you do it, it always comes off corny. And with this, it just I just assumed that was her natural power because it's a cosmic type of power that she has, which resembles that of Captain Marvel. So I just don't understand how it ever made sense that if Miss Marvel is kind of like a is like Captain Marvel light, I don't understand why it's like why she has elongation as her power. Like
Just for those people who don't know who Miss Marvel is and Kamala Khan's background,
like myself.
She is technically speaking an Inhuman. So she was a human being, and like during this like entire crisis, the Terrigen mist that creates Inhumans was released into the general public, and a bunch of people got turned into Inhumans, and one of them was Kamala Khan. But her abilities aren't elongation. She has shape-shifting capabilities. She has healing capabilities. Like she also has like so she has what you call like size alteration, and there is some elasticity about it, but it's more morphogenetics. And it's like basically when she creates her arm to be like massively big, because of the size it becomes, she becomes the fist becomes as strong as if it was that big. But at the same time, she can like make herself like really thin and really tall to grab people and then bring them back down. But also she can go really small as well. Unfortunately, she becomes equivalently as weak. But also she can shapeshift. And like I have a friend, Shiba, who is also she's also Pakistani like I am. And one of the things like her and I have always like discussed about is like, because we've grown up watching all these superhero shows and reading all these comic books, that we have on occasion thought if we could like transform into a Caucasian, or to like look more Caucasian in order to like fit the mold growing up. Obviously, as we became older and became more secure in our culture and more like confident in ourselves, we stopped doing that.
Damn,
but
that's
like,
sad, bro.
It's just a natural part of like growing up.
That tugged on my heartstrings a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Yeah,
I feel for you, Rock.
Kamala Khan has shape-shifting capabilities, and the first thing one of the first things she did was she made herself blonde hair and blue-eyed to be beautiful and to be popular at school.
Wow.
And so like that's why this power shift kind of bothers me, because fine, if you like, if all you're looking at is like you don't want her to look too much like Mr. Fantastic, so he has his own thing, so let's give her cosmic powers. I mean, let's leave aside the like a potential criticism of like the first brown girl with superpowers from the comics that are versatile. You decide to just give her like bracelets that give her like semi Green Lantern powers, I guess. I don't really know what they are right now, but they kind of gave me a little bit of like Green Lantern vibes, which I guess if you're gonna give like a brown person Green Lantern powers, cool. But like it kind of takes away the subtlety of the storytelling that was like me and my friend Shiva. Yeah, T.
So question. So how does this connect to Captain Marvel? Like how is
she's a fangirl. She's a straight up fangirl.
So there's actually no connection like power wise to she's just a fangirl that took on the name. Okay.
She's a fangirl who started saving people, and like as a result, because she becomes like a young Avenger and then like a part of the Maid Avengers. I think also like anyway, she gets known for being a superhero and is known for like wearing Captain Marvel stuff. So Captain Marvel just shows up, is like, yo, you want to be like Ms. Marvel and shit like that, or like blesses her to be Miss Marvel, and it's like, okay. So Darcy,
couple things. So one, you kept saying Green Lantern, I just kept thinking Brown Lantern. I had to say it. It was in my head. I'm sorry. I'm like, is that what Marvel's doing now? Anyways, I had to get that out. I'm playing. But the one thing that this trailer made me think, and like I get why they would have to do this based on what you just said about the Inhumans, since Inhumans is completely written out now.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the TV series didn't happen.
It's not happening. So the thing that it feels like what they're gonna do story wise is be like, she's a fan of Cap Marvel. She somehow gets a hold of something related to Captain Marvel, and that's how she adopts her power. So she actually has a connection now, and that's why it's cosmic. Like that's why, like when I saw it, that's why I was like, I feel like that's where they're going.
That's what I figured too.
And the whole Hawkeye thing for me was like the same like premise. Like when I said it feels like Hawkeye, it was like, oh my god, I wanted to be like Hawkeye my whole life. So she trains to basically be Hawkeye. And this one's like, oh, I always wanted to be like Captain Marvel, and then instead of like training to be Captain Marvel, because that's an impossibility, she ends up like I mean, unless you're in the Super Saiyan universe, and then totally legit. but she like, you know, kind of like stumbles in like kind of like if Miles Morales wanted to, you know, be like you know, Peter Parker and searched out for the spider, so to speak, right, or for how to get the power. So that's why I kind of like, you know, felt somewhat similar to me on that regards.
Yeah. So like just throwing up what Ron Art was saying is like, I just don't want to be upset yet about the changes until we see how everything plays out. You know what? Fair enough. Like a lot of people love Kamala Khan and her story, like because she is so relatable. And you know, like what I really like is they went with a very relatable individual. Like I forget the name. I think her name is like Imam Valeni or something like that. Or so she seems really relatable, and also she's kind of like the new Peter Parker, but like Peter Parker has gotten older in the comics, so they got someone who is, you know, like he's now like he's past university and now like an adult and ready to have children sort of thing. So obviously they decided to go with a new teenager to like for people to relate to, and the fact that they went with Kamala Khan and she's growing in popularity and has become so popular in the comics, that makes me happy. And now we're showcasing her, and like, you know, I personally believe they've cast it very well, and I guess you could say there are a lot of things that worry me about this, but at the same time, all those worries kind of went out the door the moment I saw the trailer. And then, of course, like they came back in after I was done the trailer. But like, you know, like I said, I teared up like at the end of the trailer because I'm like, yo, man. So I will say that watching the series will probably be the most stressful for me, because like I'll be watching it, I'll be criticizing it, but at the same time I'll be happy about it, and I'll just be like worried where they're going to be taking it, and like, so yeah, like I will be a mess while we while we watch this series together.
This is the one time I'm excited for your criticism.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Same, absolutely. And I hope that they do justice when it comes to the like creating empathy for audiences who don't know, like just being able to like see things. I'm going to use like Pixar as a reference here, but like I forget the name of the movie right now, but the one about Mexican and the Mexican Passover. What's that?
Oh no.
Coco.
Yeah,
Coco.
Yeah, where like there's just a lot that they taught you about Mexican culture, like the chancala or whatever, how you say it, like the Mexican sandal that the grandmother always beat you with. And use like a boomerang, right? But like you don't know about those things until you know about those things. So I'm hoping that they do a good job of layering that in, so you know we can become more educated.
Yeah. And like already they showed in the trailer like Muslim prayers, so that was, and it looked proper. Like I didn't see that and be like, I mean, seriously, they're going to do it like that. I was like, awesome. So we'll see how things go with that. All right, moving on. Our next topic is we're now going to review the very short teaser trailer for The Boys season 3. This came out, I think, also this week as well. It was a teaser, so like, you know, we didn't get a lot of dialogue, but Tactix, I'll start with you. What did you think, bro?
Yo, man, they're going balls to the walls by the look of this trailer, man. Everything, it was just explosion after explosion, and I'm not even talking about actual, like just guts everywhere. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? But it's to be expected from a show like this. I mean, it seems like they're trying to continuously push the envelope as the seasons progress and seeing how much they can get away with. I mean, it is Amazon Prime, so I mean, there's a lot more leniency on that on Amazon or those type of streaming services. So yeah, they can pretty much they can kind of take it to that next level. I'm just wondering if they'll ever push it a little too far to the point where they're like, yeah, you kind of went over the edge there a little bit. But I mean, it's to be determined. But honestly, I've been loving the show so far. I love what they've given us in season 1, obviously, and season 2 was solid. I think season 3 is going to be just as great. It's an interesting concept that now the boys are going to have powers of their own, which is going to be kind of interesting. It's going to be cool, and they're going to even out the playing field a little bit. So I'm interested to see where that goes. But other than that, I really want to see Black Noir make more of an appearance. I feel like we didn't get enough of him. We got a little bit of him in season 2. But I want to see a little bit more of him because obviously, he's kind of like the Batman character of this universe. So definitely want to see him throw down a little bit. I'm still I think it was revealed because there were in the comic book. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, Black Noir is very different in the comic book.
Yeah,
than how he is in the show.
Yeah. So for a moment there, I thought that's the angle that they were going. And the thing that I'm alluding to is that basically Black Noir is supposedly a clone of Homelander, and he was made as a way to keep Homelander in check if Homelander ever went too far off the rails. But then it turns out that Black Noir, as like the clone, was like fucking shit up, and like he was actually the one linked to raping and killing Butcher's wife or something like that, and basically pinned the whole thing on the real Homelander. And it was like a whole crazy thing. And but it seems like they're kind of deviating from that storyline. But definitely want to see Black Noir show up a little bit more. And I'm excited. Love the show. Can't wait.
Darce?
Well, one, I forgot to check it out until I was looking through our agenda. I was like, oh, let me do this. So I just watched it twice right now. It's not that I was avoiding it. I just literally forgot, and then I was like, I know that's something I still haven't watched. As I'm watching this, it's I agree with everything Tactix says. They keep pushing their limits. I'm like, the only way I think that they can push it too far is if they were to do something for the sake of being edgy, but doesn't fit the story.
Or shock value.
Yeah, if it doesn't fit the story, because Homelander does the creepiest things. In this teaser, he's milking a cow, and you already know he's thinking about the getting milk on himself, right? You already know that's what it's about. And
he
so
makes milk so gross.
Somebody needs to there needs to be a milk company that doesn't ad with him in our real world. It's the most meta. It's wrong, but it would sell because it's that wrong. But first off, what's his name? I forget how to say his name, but the guy from Supernatural as the douchey Captain America looks great.
Jason Ankles.
Yeah, I could hear it in my head, but I was like, I'm gonna screw it up if I try. He looks great. The Boys of Power looks interesting. The scene where what's his name, our buddy who was our main character, getting his arm broken 2-way sideways. Oh yes, Tactix, good job.
Oh
yeah. Oh man. There's a lot here that looks good and fun and interesting. I'm just skimming through this to see. There's just so much can happen. Hallucinating dreams that are gonna happen in this. People powers. There's just. The boys ain't done me wrong yet. I don't expect them to do wrong again. I think it's gonna be another great season, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah, I got nothing to add. You guys have pretty much covered everything I was gonna say. So. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to reviewing it with you guys. And I'm with you, Tactix, I'm looking forward to seeing where our assumptions and our deductions lead us, given Black Noir and all the rest. So, moving on. So, the next topic we're going to be focusing on is a rumor that has been recently thrown around, mostly by Will Smith himself, that his son, who has recently been shown to be getting into shape, may be joining the MCU. And those might be related to Miles Morales. So I just thought I would bring this forward and see what you guys thought. So Darcy, any thoughts on if this is true, or like, do you even want this to be true?
Jaden's a good actor. I mean, he can be a weird dude, but he's a good actor. I mean, like he's getting fit, like, you know, like, and I always respect when an actor gets fit for a role.
Damn.
He's even more fit than that. there are pictures like, I mean, obviously there's different moments of swole and stuff like that, but yeah, he's putting in some serious work for whatever role he's taking on. And
ooh, that's a good one.
You know, like I've seen him in a bunch of different stuff, and other than like that one fail that him and his dad had, that was just like a hard crash, which ironically that's the whole movie's about. That was my joke. The like he's done good stuff. Like I forget what that one show was in Netflix. It was like a hip hop based show, but like he killed
The Get Down.
Role. Yeah, The Get Down. Thank you. He killed his role in that. Like he was like the second best character. And the best character was the main character, which as you would expect it to be. And so like, and I want Miles Morales to show up, and it makes sense. I mean, for him to play it. I mean, he's a little bit potentially old, but I mean, you know, makeup and whatnot, he'll look young as all hell, right? Like, you know, if he cuts his hair or whatever, or if he keeps his hair, even if that plays into the character. However, I feel like he probably has to cut his hair, but for that role. Yeah. You know, I don't have any like issues against it, because I think he'll do a good job if that's what he's doing. That's it. That's all I got.
Tactics?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know Jaden's complete body of work, because I didn't end up checking out the After Earth, the movie that he did with his dad.
That's the one to skip.
Yeah. So I've heard, but I so putting it into context, I actually read Will's book, and they actually talk about that moment that actually kind of created a rift between him and Will, because of the fact that Will takes on a lot of responsibility for that movie doing as badly as it did. Not that it was his fault, but the fact that this was Jaden's time to shine, really, right? And to show his chops as an actor. And he had entrusted in Will to kind of be his guiding light. And the fact that movie tanked and Jaden took the majority of the criticism, because with Will, it's like he's got a long, extensive body of work under his belt, right? So one movie flops, it's not a big deal. He's still got Independence Day, Men in Black, Bad Boys, all that.
Yeah.
Whereas Jaden, you know, he's never carried a film outside of, like, you know, I mean, he had the Karate Kid, and then
I really liked him in Karate Kid.
Yeah, and I thought he did the job really well. I think he was fine. He was good in The Pursuit of Happiness, but of course, you know, it's easy when you're working with your father. You know what I mean? You're pretty much not acting at that point, right? It's just.
I mean, except for After Earth.
Well, yeah. But yeah, but I honestly, for me, I don't. Now, like, again, to reference this is something that we always reference, but to reference Heath Ledger, right? It's like, you know, after that whole thing with the Joker, it's like any actor that they throw out into the ether and say they're going to be playing this role, I'm kind of like, okay, well, let's give him a chance and see what he does. Same thing with Robert Pattinson. Same thing with Ben Affleck. We did all that shit where we're criticizing. Like, I've learned ever since Heath Ledger, I've learned, okay, let's just see what the guy's got, or the girl, or whatever, and judge based off of their performance in the moment. Otherwise, like, I don't know, like, for all we know, Jaden could be taking acting lessons as we speak and trying to improve himself as a performer. And he ends up killing the role. Like, I agree, yes, he is a little bit older to be playing the role, but I think he's got enough swag to bring to the character, and obviously he's in prime condition. He's getting in shape for what, I don't know. So the MCU thing makes sense, unless he's just like really all about that, fit life. Then all the more power to him. But it also does kind of make sense because considering that Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, is the Prowler, and Donald Glover and Jaden are actually close in real life. I mean, there's a tie in there already, so
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. So I don't know, man. I'm for it. I'm willing to give him a shot. I think he has potential, and I'd be for it. I know there's been other people like campaigning for the dude from what's his name? Stranger Things. This guy.
Yeah, I can see that. I kind of wanted Miles Brown to do it. I think. Wait, Miles Brown is on the left, isn't he? Those are two different people.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah.
You thought Tactix got confused with his black people today?
No. I was thinking the person who made this picture got confused.
Yeah, I was teasing.
Yeah, but like, no, I thought the guy on the left, Miles Brown, is someone who I wanted more for Miles Morales. But like, I can also see the kid from Stranger Things as well. I'm not against what's his name? Jaden, but like at the same time, I guess like I kind of agree with Ron R. I wanted a more unknown individual, which I feel Miles Brown is. But at the same time, Jaden has proven that he can carry a film. Like him and Jackie Chan, like I think the only thing I've seen of Jaden is Karate Kid. So like him and Jackie Chan were like on equal par, and I was like really loving that film. So yeah, like I have nothing against him if he is going to be Miles Morales. He is slightly older, but like whatever. Like how many times have they done that in like so many other films? So. So yeah, like I'm in agreement with you guys.
He still looks pretty young though, too.
Agreed. But he does look like he's in university.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I mean, depends how they cast it. I mean, the one thing though that lacks, I think, with all of the people that we've mentioned so far is that none of them are have like a Spanish background, right? And so that biracial aspect, I mean, I'm gonna say it, but like being biracial is something that's of a unique experience, and that's something that like an actor who is biracial would be able to bring more of that element to the character, because there's a dichotomy that you live through. But the only thing I feel bad about, I know that Will Smith like speaks Spanish like fluently, and he just has a big love for the language, so that may filter down to his son and may give him more access to, or have more historical experience, that he may be more connected to that community and be able to respect that community more appropriately. But it would be really beneficial if an actor who was both black and Spanish would have been cast, because there's definitely an element, like you saw it in the Into the Spider-Verse, that there was elements there that it just that would be nuances hard to capture. But I mean, by the way, just circling back to the After Earth thing, I have this while we were talking. Jaden's character, and I don't blame this on Jaden or Will, because I feel like the whole overall movie just like wasn't edited well, and there was like writing problems. And no surprise, because there was like M. Night Shyamalan was involved. So
that's right. I forgot about that.
I blame M. Night Shyamalan more than I blame them, and I feel bad that Jaden got so much heat. But Jaden's character felt a lot like Anakin Skywalker's Hayden Christensen's character, where it felt way whinier than it was supposed to be, right? And so I feel like Jaden took the same heat that Hayden. Okay. Anyways, they both took the same heat. They took the same heat because like their characters just had a similar vibe, right? Where he was like a whiny kid who had to learn to overcome, and it was like a lot of the lessons that Will would impart in him. So like it made a lot of sense. I get why they wanted to do it, and it was cool, but it was weak on the surface. It was too. It didn't have enough, and Will was a bit stiff in that movie because he didn't fully connect with the character. He's too charismatic, and he was trying to be a robot character, and he was struggling there a bit. But they did an all right job, but the overall movie was failed to begin with.
All right, fair enough. Moving on. Our next topic is just to be discussing an upcoming series that I think starts next week, or no, in 2 weeks. Moon Knight. Now, the embargo has been lifted, and the early reviews have started to pour in, and they have been largely positive. Let me just read out some things. So, look, the early reviewers got to see the first 4 episodes. And here are some of the reviews. Moon Knight is fantastic, and Oscar Isaac is exceptional as a tormented Mark Spector. This is the Marvel show everyone is going to be talking about. Completely bonkers that leads with a haunting adventure. Marvel Studios has knocked it out of the park with its best show yet. We have another person who says, I've watched the first 4 episodes of Moon Knight. It's unlike anything we've seen before from the MCU. It's a psychological thriller with a touch of Indiana Jones. It kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time, and Oscar Isaac delivers a mesmerizing performance. And just one more before we start talking about this. Full thoughts to come in my Moon Knight review when, who knows, very soon. But I will say this, it's unlike anything you've seen from Marvel before. I'd go as far as to say, and I don't say this lightly, it's the best MCU TV show ever. So there seems to be a relative consistency regarding this series. People are saying that it's unlike anything that Marvel or the MCU has done before. It's Oscar Isaac is being praised for his role, which I expected a little. Like, he's a great actor, and the trailers kind of showed him to be kind of like the fact that he's having a psychological break and he's the focus of the series. I hope is done well, but apparently it is doing well. So, well, at least in the first 4 episodes, anyway. So, I am very, very pleased. And also the fact that everyone keeps saying this is unlike anything the MCU. Like, one of my complaints with Marvel is that, like, they are staying so true to their working formula. I'll give it that. It's working. But it's like there's no branching off. It sounds this one branched off and apparently is doing well. So now, I should also preface, like, I know I'm known for being the guy who knows the comic books, but, like, I actually know very little about this character. So I'm going to be going into it, I think, on the same level of knowledge with the both of you. And so my thought, like, now I would like to hear, Tactix, what are your thoughts on these reactions for Moon Knight?
Well, first and foremost, yeah, I'm with you, man. I have no idea who or what this character is all about. So all I know is he's giving me like Batman vibes, which is dope. You know, when it comes to Batman or anything referencing it, it's an easy sell for me right off the bat. So
then I'll let you know a little bit of who he is so you have an understanding. He is someone who he's been inhabited by like an Egyptian moon god.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is one of his personalities. Like, he has multiple, it's not multiple personality disorder anymore. It's
Split?
called, displaced associative syndrome.
No, that's not what I said at all. But yeah, okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah. So, like, it's kind of like it takes over, and like he is a regular guy, but like when it takes over, I guess he has I don't know. I don't even know if he has superpowers. But yeah, go on, Tactix.
Wait, you don't know if he has superpowers?
I don't think he does, but like, for all I know, I could be very much mistaken with this.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. You kind of killed it for me there, bud.
Yeah, I was like watching us like, Umar, Are you trying to unsell him?
Yeah, I was sold, and then you're like, yeah, I don't know if he has super. So this is just a dude.
Oh no!
like,
Okay, so currently he's an expert detective, proficient in martial arts and combat, utilizes high-tech equipment and mystical visions.
Okay, so he sounds pretty much like Batman, minus the mystical vision shit. So okay, I'm resold again. I'm on board again. All right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the reviews sound pretty dope. They sound pretty dope. Again, not much to go on because I'm not familiar with the character, but from what I've seen of the trailer, I'm interested. Not super blown away, but again, most of the stuff that I tend not to be blown away by, I end up going in with mild expectations and then just being floored. So that's kind of how I anticipate going into this. And yeah, I'm hoping to have a good time. I'm hoping to be fully invested in the story. I hope the action is great. I saw a werewolf briefly, or some hairy looking motherfucker. So I mean that is kind of interesting. I'm like, so there's werewolves in this world? Like, well, I guess if there's vampires, then there's got to be werewolves, I guess. So, yeah. Is Blade connected to this at all, or?
He does work with Blade. I think that eventually Blade and him, like Oscar Isaacs and Mahershala Ali, are going to at one point team up.
Ooh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'll leave it right there. That's as much as I can say.
Okay. Darcy, what are your thoughts?
First off, Umar, don't say anything else before you sell us away from the show. Sarcasm. But I mean, I'm hearing everything I want to hear about this show in terms of, though I don't like when I hear like, oh, this is more different than anything Marvel has done, because they've done that a couple of times recently, and I'm like, I feel like I've heard that a couple of times, so I'm like, really? Like, and then it ends up being kind of like different, but then not at the same time. But I hope it's a lot different this time.
Okay. I'm just going to interrupt you because I just saw one more review. So Moon Knight is a brilliantly bonkers, dark, globe-trotting adventure. This is Marvel's trippy national treasure. Oscar Isaac is the best addition to the MCU since RDJ. Entwining torment and humor into a morally ambiguous cipher, Mark Spector is a whole new caliber of hero.
Cool. I just mean tonally. They'll say everything's different, and then tonally, it'll still feel like everything else, right? Like, I'm not saying they need to be like Batman noir different. I just mean like, I just don't like getting the promise of like, oh, it's gonna be really different, and then I'm like, nah, bro, this feels the same. like, same production team, I can see it. Yeah, I'm hearing everything I want to hear in terms of it being good. I look forward to it, and the one thing that I want out of all of this, I mean, this guy looks fun. I mean, like when he's wearing the suit, like it look like a fucking riot. But the thing that I want out of all of this is I just want this to introduce Blade. Out of everything, I really hope this sets up Blade. Because I need
brother.
It's a Blade back in my life is all I'm trying to say. So and like they've been doing a good job of expanding the Marvel universe and every property they brought us lately, so please just keep expanding it, because there's so much stuff that we want to see. And as much as everything has been like led up to Endgame was really, really good, and in the last few films that we got, not just Endgame but other movies around that time frame between Infinity War and Endgame, like really expanded things. I want to say that like everything felt very like linear and slow in terms of expanding all the things that we know in Marvel that can exist. And now we've kind of like just opened up the floodgates, and we're like, especially with what we're about to see with Doctor Strange, it's like, let everything that we know can happen. So we don't have to have this like slow progression where it feels like, okay, in about 5 years we'll get Fantastic Four, and then another 5 years we might get an X-Men, and then another 5 years we'll actually have the full X-Men, and then I'm like, bro, I'm going to retire before I get what I want to see. So just open this thing up.
I'm just gonna say this: if all those stuff, if like Fantastic Four and X-Men and also the Avengers and all that stuff is opened up by the time all three of us are in retirement age, we don't have work getting in the way. We can watch this shit constantly.
I don't need to wait like 30 odd years for that to happen, bro. If that's the trajectory we're on, like DC will have figured out how to win. Like, I'm just saying,
dude. Okay, interesting question. Do you think we'll ever get to see DC like flip the script on Marvel?
They've already started with the Batman, so if they keep that going, then
yeah, Umar is not like
man. Fuck you, bro. Stop hating, man. Just fuck you, guy.
Bro. Okay. The
Batman is a good entry. It's a good starting point, man.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying.
Why are you hating? Because you didn't like the last 20 minutes. Wow, big deal, guy. Just watch it up to that point and then just call it a day, bro.
Yo, okay. I need my noir verse now, okay? Like I need them to expand that thing out, but I don't need it to get I don't need noir Superman. That's not what I'm saying. I want like a really solid Batman universe with all of his his partners in crime with him, and then bring in some other characters from like the general that makes sense, from the overall DC universe that makes sense, and it kind of expand that out, and then leave your Supermans out.
Yo, that's our next topic. Make it make sense, because this kind of tone for the Batman you can really only do for Batman. But yes. How do you introduce the likes of Aquaman, Wonder Woman, the Flash into a universe style like this?
Yeah, I like it.
If you want to build that world.
Okay, future topic.
Yeah. If y'all want to see that as our next episode, please leave that in the comments and let us know.
Make it make sense.
Moving on to our final topic for tonight, we are going to discuss a recent bit of news that has, I think it was earlier today or yesterday or something like that. Anyway, apparently, since Marvel has I should say, since Netflix has given the rights to Daredevil, the Defender series, so like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and do I want to say his name?
Nah, move on.
Move on. Okay, so they have now been placed on Disney Plus, and now Disney's reaping the benefits of having people who love MCU. Getting a series, an entire franchise, I want to say, a TV franchise. Oh, Punisher as well. Punisher. They are now part of based off Spider-Man No Way Home and also on Hawkeye season finale. Daredevil and Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist and Punisher are all members of the MCU to some degree. As a result, it has been announced that the Marvel Studios is working on a reboot of the Daredevil series, supposedly with our favorite Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. And since we've already seen him in Hawkeye, it is presumed that we are also going to be getting my man Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is happening. We don't know to what extent, and we don't know how much more. Are they going to be bringing everyone back from basically redoing the whole series, just Disney Plus version, or are they just getting those two guys back and recasting everybody else?
Yo, bring everybody back besides Pillow Fists, okay? It's everybody but Pillow Fists. We good.
Oh my God.
I mean, everybody from his show besides him. like his sister and brother and the family, everyone who's still alive, they were good. Bring them in. I don't care. Just leave Pillow Fists off to the side.
So, I guess we go. Darcy, do you have more to expand on that?
Yes. Also, take the guy from Mortal Kombat who showed up as the drunk master in the Iron Fist show and cast him as Iron Fist, because he makes more sense for every possible reason. Literally, that way, it's like. This is the one time where, you know how when Jazz on Fresh Prince was like, oh, Aunt Viv, you look different, right? Where literally no one needs to say anything and everyone will be like, no, That's what I remember. It's like 2 seasons, but everyone's like, no, this is the guy I remember. I don't remember that guy.
It'd be funny if unlike before, whenever during the Defenders, everyone was harping and beating up on him. This time around, everyone's like, "Yo, man, how you doing? Look, this is our favorite guy. This is our favorite guy."
It's like just everyone's memory got erased. It's like, am I being here? But but it's like one shot of whiskey and we all just washed it away.
Okay, but what if they only do a Daredevil reboot? Let's focus on that. What do you want out of this?
I mean, we need Punisher back. I'm sorry. I'm gotta go there. Like of all, if we're only because he was brought in through Daredevil, and 2, he makes I just need Punisher, man. Oh, but
John Bernthal is perfect. Honestly, Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, and John Bernthal, and also Mike Coulter, and also Kristen Ritter, they were perfect. Yeah, they were perfect for each of their roles.
Yeah,
John Bernthal is a chameleon, man. I to see him in Punisher, and then years later see him in what was it, King Richard? It's like night and day, man. It's so bizarre. I'm like, this guy was the Punisher? I don't believe it. But yeah, man, that's crazy.
He's amazing.
He's great. He is great.
But if you gave me a limited list, then it's got to be those 2. You can't not bring John in. You have to. But I don't know if it was just Daredevil. I mean, I definitely want to see Daredevil and Spider-Man interact because we already got that set up, and I just think that them on screen together will be just amazing. I think the annoyance that is Spider-Man with Daredevil, I think it'll play so well. The humor from the 2 will just be great because he's just a straight man Batman with like Harley Quinn, almost level. You know what I'm saying?
Also, it would be awesome to see the 2 of them just jumping from skyscrapers together.
Yeah, or I'm just seeing Spider-Man's reaction now where he jumps off of something and he's just like, wait, you don't have powers? You don't got nothing to swing on? He's just he's like, how you not break something? He's just afraid for him or something. Puts out a little web to catch him, and he's just pissed.
It's like, did you just safety net me? I'm older than you.
Exactly, something stupid like that. Oh, I could totally see that happening.
Darcy, I'm sorry, Tactix.
Yeah, this couldn't have come at a much more perfect time. I feel like with the transition that Tom Holland's Spider-Man has gone through to get to the point where he's at right now, and now to have the Daredevil reboot on the way, I think that's perfect. I'm a little 50-50 on it. I don't get me wrong, I want to see more than anything more of an interaction between definitely him in the suit for sure. Them just teaming up and dropping fools. That's gonna be sick to watch. But on the other hand, it's okay, it's gonna be on Disney Plus. Are they going to keep the tone? Obviously, probably not. They're gonna probably water it down dramatically, which is a little upsetting. I mean, they could still potentially do a great job in terms of the action. But the Netflix version of Daredevil really made me love that character. I knew of Daredevil because I used to watch the 90s Spider-Man show, and I love that show. And so, and Daredevil would always make an appearance every now and then. But I was never really invested in the character until the Netflix show, and I was blown away by the action and the tone of the show and the way that they set up or left things off. It's in season 3 where they were setting up Bullseye, and it's I feel we're not gonna get that level of Bullseye in this now, so it's kind of I so
Bullseye
wanted,
in the season 3, Jesus.
Yeah, it's just and then I would want to see him don his suit, the Bullseye suit, or see it some kind of iteration of the suit, whether they want to make it tactical, similar to what they did with Daredevil, or just fully spandex him up, whatever. But I definitely would. I wanted to see a continuation of that, and unfortunately, we're most likely not going to get it to that level, which is kind of upsetting. But yeah, I love this news. Like, this news is awesome. Charlie Cox did a phenomenal job as Daredevil, and I definitely want to see him show up a lot more. Whether it's in a TV series format or if he gets his own movie eventually, like whatever, I'm all game for it. I'm game to see Vincent D'Onofrio come back as the Kingpin. Obviously, they're going to kind of modify and adjust the character a little bit, like they kind of already did with Hawkeye, because he wasn't in the original Netflix show. He wasn't nearly as strong as they depicted him on the Hawkeye show. So
he still got beaten up by a teenager and hit like 3 times and knocked down. I was just like if this is what we have look forward to for the changes, I'm not gonna be happy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I felt like they just did that to fit the narrative.
I guess, yeah. But still,
I think once they do a reboot of Daredevil, they're probably gonna do Kingpin a little bit more justice in that regard, like show his full prowess.
I mean, they better, to be honest with you. The one thing that they need to keep from the Daredevil though is just the hallway type fights. Like even though like the tone might be very different overall in the darkness of the overall story. Which, yeah, that sucks. But they need to have the brawling fights.
Specifically the one shot, because they had in every season they've always had it as like one continuous shot. They need to keep that going. None of this like cutscene stuff. Like,
so okay, I'm gonna say that I'm happy about this news as well. However, I am a little concerned because. Like, I guess, and this is going to sound odd, but like with Moon Knight, I have hope that what we are hoping that about the tone will stay. Because if Moon Knight is them going their more psychological thriller, which is a little bit more darker, and also like, actually showing like proper blood and also like things like being like really fucked up, if they can then do a Daredevil version, which is like similar in tone, and also as deep in like storytelling and character development, then I'll be happy. It will be kind of odd for them to reboot the series, and then like keep all the same actors, and then just kind of like obviously they could all be variants from what we're used to, where they're like close in what like we've seen before, but like they're just doing things differently now, or doing things more in line with the comics versus what we got in the Daredevil TV series. But my worry is that they're going to do what they did to Vincent D'Onofrio's character in Hawkeye to all of them, and that's what I don't want to have happen. Because just having them, having the actors do like a Disney version of their counterparts, like that's not what I want. Now, Spider-Man No Way Home gives me a little bit of hope, because like that was Matt being Matt from what we've seen from the 3 seasons. Matt would definitely take that case. Matt would definitely handle things like that, and also Matt's humor on like being Daredevil would also like, it's not like he just suddenly developed like a funny bone. He was always sarcastic. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that Moon Knight will show that they can be darker and more like edgier, and therefore can do Daredevil more to what we're used to and like, and also maybe even change things up a little bit. But yeah, it's a good step in the right direction. I just hope that they continue on.
They kind of have an unfair disadvantage because of the fact that with Moon Knight, the expectations that we currently have are pertaining to reviews that we've heard, right? Nothing like it has ever come out yet, right? Whereas we already have expectations because we've already had 3 seasons of a different version of Daredevil, and now that they're rebooting it, especially with the same characters, now it's like there's big shoes to fill in that regard, because to live up to what Daredevil delivered. And they delivered on all 3 seasons, is going to be a tall order.
Absolutely. And like, yeah, like you could say like one season was better than the other, but all 3 of them had there was a consistency of quality.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. Anyway, that's all I got to say. So I'm going to volley it back to you, Tactix.
All right. Well, this has been another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, thank you so much for your support. Keep commenting, keep liking, keep subscribing, all that good stuff. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. Live long and prosper, y'all.